All right, cuckolds. Let's talk about some good wrestlers in NXT. I wanted to do this video or also in WWE, because nowadays it's like the brand split means absolutely nothing, and like I don't even know who's on what brand. Like what brand is Judgment Day on? Like one day they're here, one day they're there. Dominic Mysterio is the NXT like North American champion. It's just getting out of hand. The brand split means nothing. The draft means nothing. And until they take this stuff seriously, I'm just going to consider the entire company, including NXT, as one entity. So that being said, let's get to some of the good wrestlers that we have in WWE, right? Now, when I say good, I'm not saying that these guys are like, John Cena in his prime, right? I'm saying that they deserve a push. They deserve a chance to get an opportunity to do something, right? Okay, so we've got, first of all, Idris Enofe and the other guy. I think it's Malik Blade or Malik Blaze or something, right? These guys, all right, they're not anything special. But in the context of tag team wrestling, I'd rather see a new team, right, than the Viking Raiders, right? That's where I put them, right? I'd rather see a new team than see, the Street Profits, right? Give them a chance. They might have something special. They might be the two most charismatic guys you have. We'll never know unless we give them a chance. Briggs and Jensen. I like these guys. They have a very, very relatable gimmick. They're these two big 6'5"ers, right, that look like they drink a lot of beer and play a lot of darts at some Texas roadhouse, right? So their gimmick is built into their physical appearance, right? You can't ask for more than that. Going along the same line and going along the same tag teams, Bronco Nima and the other guy. Now, first of all, Bronco Nima is obviously a stupid name, but I will say this, it's memorable. I don't know the other guy at all. You could put a gun to my head and I wouldn't be able to tell you his name. But Bronco Nima just sounds like a cool name, even though it's goofy, right? Bronco Nima and the other guy, I think if Bronco Nima is the one that I'm thinking of, he's the one that I like. There's like the one who's like light skinned, I like him. He's like some sort of like, he might be like a Samoan, I don't know, right? That guy is good. He just has he has like a look to him. They look like monsters, right? They remind me a lot of AOP, which also was a missed opportunity. Those two guys were legit badasses, right? But that's what I got in the tag team circuit in NXT. And then an honorable mention, because they're now on like Raw, I think, right? The Diamond Mine, the Creed brothers, right? These guys have everything they need to have to become legit. Here's the difference between them and other jobbers that have similar gimmicks. Like, for example, Timothy Thatcher or Oni Lorcan, right? The Creed brothers have this insane athletic charisma. I think they've tapped into this new form of charisma, right? Athletic charisma, like the same thing that AJ Styles has, the same thing that let's see, who's someone very like T.O., Terrell Owens, like people like that are just are not very charismatic in terms of like their ability to talk or do anything, but they're so athletic that it comes off as very confident and charismatic, right? The best example for me in WWE are the Creed brothers. These guys, you can just tell that these guys would beat up basically everyone in WWE, except for Brock Lesnar. They would murder everyone, except obviously, discounting people like Braun Strowman and, the giant Omos. I think, Omos, they might have a chance because they're big, strong dudes, man. So, the way that they wrestle, number one, is commensurate with their appearance and their gimmick, right? They're not these, Timothy Thatcher is just a guy who's balding and he does submission moves. He's like a big Dean Malenko. Great, who cares? The Creed brothers, they do like one of them does a shooting star press. The other one does a moonsault. The other one was someone that was going to probably win the NCAA heavyweight tournament, right? But it was a COVID year. It was the COVID years, so he didn't get to compete. This guy is legit a world-class wrestler. This is like Brutus Creed, who is my personal favorite, right? This guy is someone that if you put him in an octagon in UFC, he would probably win several fights. He could have a UFC career if he wants to. This guy is a beast, right? So this guy could throw around someone like, I don't know, Seth Rollins. He would murder him in 2 seconds, right? So his move could easily just be a leg lock, right? He could have a boring moveset like Gunther. Like he would murder Gunther in 2 seconds if he wanted to, right? But despite this, his finishing move is the Brutus Ball, right? Basically, he climbs a turnbuckle, jumps, does a cannonball, and just falls to the ground, hitting whatever he hits on the way down, right? He takes a huge bump from the top rope. He did it 3 times in the tag team turmoil match, right? And it just looked badass every time, right? It's a simple move that he doesn't need to do. That's why I like him. Same thing with Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon is the son of the owner. He doesn't need to be doing jumps off of the Hell in a Cell, but he does it anyways, which is why I respect and I always have respected Shane McMahon. The Creed brothers, they are badasses. They wrestle like badasses, and they look like badasses, right? So it's really that simple. In my opinion, this nonsense with Ivy Nile is a waste of time. The Creed brothers should become serious and go join Braun Breaker because he has that same aesthetic, and he also is a guy that would beat someone's ass, right? And their gimmick should just be like essentially what Gallus is, except instead of having Wolfgang and two like vanilla midgets, it's just three badasses, right? And they just go out there and just beat everybody up. Like, that's what I want to see. You know, they don't even need a gimmick because they're just so cool and athletically charismatic, right? I'm coining the term athletic charisma as of now. Now, with that being said, obviously, there's a few good singles guys as well, right? I hate to say it, but this Nakamura thing is engaging me a little bit. Nakamura's still a jobber with 2 moves, but the truth is what the truth is. If you let Nakamura go out there and do those little backstage promos where he's talking in Japanese and they have this subtle music playing, that's effective, right? Go with that. Make him Intercontinental Champion or something, right? That's more interesting than Gunther. Now, beyond that, we also have a few other wrestlers that stand out, but in my opinion, they're fine doing what they're doing. Dominic Mysterio, I really like him, but he's fine in Judgment Day, right? That thing's going to run its course eventually. It's fine. But let's move on to a better part of the video. Wrestlers that suck. Actually, we'll do this in another video. Now we're going to talk about something else. We're going to continue talking about some of the wrestlers that I do like. I mentioned Shotzi Blackheart, or Shotzi as she's called now, just Shotzi. Just a little bit weird. Shotzi Blackheart, like, I don't know, had a ring to it, right? She's unique, and that's what we're looking for around here. We're looking for unique, right? We need unique. We don't need Dragon Lee, right? Another Sin Cara, another, like, whatever, Kalisto. It's the same fucking thing. He even has, like, his finishing move is like the Destino that Tetsuya Naito does in Japan. It's basically the Salida del Sol. I mean, it's a little bit different, I understand, but it's like, why do we need another one? Like, it failed 15 times. Like, why are we trying this again? Sin Cara failed. Fucking Kalisto failed. Dragon Lee will 100% fail. Santos Escobar is gonna fail. Like, all these guys are jobbers. Like, they're not good, right? But in there are some good ones. In my opinion, as a tag team or as cruiserweights, if they bring back the cruiserweight division, I think Joaquin Wilde, and more importantly, Raul Mendoza, who is my favorite of all of these jobbers. I've always liked them. Whatever, Cruz del Toro, whatever his name is now. Cruz del Toro, right? I like these guys. They're entertaining when they were able to do their own thing, when they weren't tied down, and they were like the 5th and 6th guy in a meaningless Latino world order, right? And then with that being said, the ultimate change that needs to happen in wrestling, you can put this on AEW, you can put this on WWE as well. It's time to stop looking to the future. The future is garbage, right? We have seen time and time again, as I just explained in my Sin Cara example, where they've tried to look to the future. And they've tried to replace Rey Mysterio with people like Sin Cara and Kalisto and all these other jobbers, right? And what happens in the end? In the very end, the same thing happens again and again. And that thing is this. Rey Mysterio dominates, and he is the last man standing. He will probably outlast Santos Escobar. He will probably outlast Dragon Lee in WWE. This is just the facts of life, right? So instead of looking at the future, how about give Rey Mysterio a push? Why did Rey Mysterio stop being a main eventer? You know what I mean? When did that happen? You know? So with that being said, I think that AEW can also do the same thing. AEW has the capacity to use that same formula and push people like Christian and Edge and make them the champions. Let me just put it to you this way, motherfuckers. And this is going to bleed into my other video, but it needs to be said. Look at MJF, right? I just looked it up today. This guy's got like 374, 75 days as AEW champion. I've never felt a title become more meaningless over the course of 1 year than the AEW championship. It doesn't matter at all who the champion is. It doesn't matter at all, motherfuckers. There are far more interesting things happening in AEW, and they involve the patriarchy, Christian Cage and his little jabrones, right? And the last one that I want to point out to, especially since he is in the patriarchy, is Luchasaurus. The fact that this guy, who should have a much different gimmick, is stuck behind a dinosaur mask. I mean, I don't think I need to elaborate on this anymore. It is what it is. It speaks for itself, right? This guy's got these like massive tattoos. He should have like a demon type gimmick, like a, you know, like a almost like a Lance Archer, but like, or like he should join like the House of Black or something, right? Take off his mask. Like that should be like his direction, right? So you have all these people that you're not using because you want to just waste your time on other jobbers. But here we are, motherfuckers. Here we are. With that being said, I got nothing more to say about the good wrestlers. let's talk about some bad wrestlers.